All right, guys, this is the how to do an update video. I'll try to keep this as brief as I can. We're going to start first and foremost with how you load in this update. So Frank had posted last week an IMG file and as well as the hex file. The IMG file is basically going to update the operating system and the firmware and all that kind of fun stuff inside of the Tesla unit. The hex file just updates, it's a patch basically. It'll include improvements and the fixes that have been implemented along the way. First thing you need, I like to have 2 USB drives for this. You only need 1, I like to have 2. The reason I like to have 2 is because I have the new version of the hex code and then the last known good version of the hex code. In case anything goes wrong, I can quickly revert back without having to format the drive again. These drives are USB flash drives, USB 2 or USB 3, doesn't matter. They have to be 32 gigs or less, and they have to be formatted in FAT32. So when you bring up Explorer, or honestly guys, if you do Fruit, I have no idea what to tell you, but you'll know how to do this stuff on your Apple. I am not a fruity at all. So you'll have 2 files that were posted. You can see here is the image file. That's a larger file. It'll be a gig or more. Then the hex files are very small. Do not rename these. There is no way for the system to recognize what you have done if you have renamed these files. You can see here on the left, I have 2 USB drives, one called Kingston, one called Tulare. When you go to format these are the settings you should use. FAT32, either 4096, or to be safe, just change it to default allocation size, and you're guaranteed to get whatever the default is. You can give it a name if you want. Quick format is fine. But that's the setting. That's how you load, or that's how you start with these USB keys. Once you've done formatting, then you would go ahead and load just one of these files on. There can only be one thing on this USB key for it to work. So you cannot load the hex file as well as the IMG file on the same USB key at the same time. It's a 2-step process. So you can see Kingston here has the hex file, and the Tulare has the image file. That's exactly how you need to do it. Okay, I'm gonna put this back in the mount, go over to the unit. All right, so once you've done the files and you have them on your USB keys respectively, you're then gonna find the stock USB cables that you've attached to the Tesla unit. I'm sorry, I said stock. You need the USB cables that the Tesla unit came with. One will be labeled USB 1, one will be labeled USB 2. Remove any other USB drives you may have connected to your car. So this can be a USB flash drive, an SSD drive, whatever. Those need to be empty. When they're empty, don't insert the card yet. First, we're going to do the hex file. So we go to settings. We go here to system info. We hold in the middle of the screen with our finger for a sec. We get to the passcode. It is 7890. Hit OK. Then it's going to bring us to this new screen. We go to Mcu Upgrade. Now, for most of you that have not come to CAN 17 yet, you're going to have a much longer list here with gray options. You're going to choose Ford Upgrade, but don't do it yet. So I haven't yet inserted the USB key. You'll see here I just have Wi-Fi, no USB icon. This is when you enter the USB key or stick it into the USB slot. Only when you get here. Go ahead and place it inside of the USB key, the USB cable slot. This can be USB 1 or USB 2. I've found that it doesn't really matter. Give it a second. Wait for the USB icon to actually appear, which takes a second with these units, as you guys know. There it is. It just appeared for me. So I can go ahead and now do a CAN upgrade. Again, if you're not on 17, you're going to have a long list here. You choose Ford Upgrade. I know that's weird. We don't drive Fords. But go ahead and select it. Now, another thing, we're used to just tapping the screen really quick. I've noticed that doesn't work here. When you get to Ford Upgrade, hold it in for like half a second. It seems unnatural, but go ahead and do that. Once it finds it, you'll just see a gray bar that pops up just kind of arbitrarily in the screen, and then it starts to populate with an orange progress bar, and it loads the hex file, and that's it. There is no reboot to the hex. It just simply applies it, and when you're done the hex, I'm current, guys, so I'm not going to load one, but hopefully you're getting the point here. Remove the USB stick once the hex has finished loading. and then go back. When you go back, this will not automatically update. If you want to make sure that you're on the current CAN version, just hit wheel settings or whatever, and then go back to system info, and your CAN information will have changed. That is it for the hex upgrade. When you do upgrade to CAN 17, like I have here, there is an additional setting that you need to apply to make your aux work. Otherwise, if you don't do this, you'll notice that your music setting is going to switch to audio apps, which doesn't play a damn thing. So in order to get the aux setting to work, what we need to do here is go to advanced. It's going to ask you for another code. The code here is 8861. Hit OK. Now you'll get some additional options here. Scroll down quite a bit, and we are going to get to Q50 aux. Now, if you've custom arranged your input settings via InTouch, this may be different for you. However, my aux is on the 3rd row. The default for the hex was 2nd row. That's why it was changing it to audio apps. If you change it to 3rd row, and once you hit 3rd row, scroll all the way down to the bottom and hit save and reboot. It will reboot. Then when you switch from InTouch or from InTouch XM radio or FM or whatever, and you go back to Car Web Guru or Power Amp, etc., it will properly switch it to aux. So that's what you need to do after you update to CAN 17. Pretty simple. I'm going to get out of here. All right. For the image update, same deal. You don't need any advanced menus for this. The system should automatically recognize the USB drive that you've plugged in contains an image file. So I'm going to go ahead and plug mine in. We'll give it a second to be recognized, and it should just come with a pop-up window saying, we found a new version. Would you like to install it? There we go. So here's what pops up. You can see an update package file is found, blah, 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 blah. Would you like to install this package? And you can go ahead and hit cancel or hit install. You would hit install here, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to hit cancel. But when you do hit install, it's going to go ahead and do just a regular Android upgrade, like what you're pretty much used to seeing. It will be sideways, which is kind of strange. So you'll have the text here will be sideways, and then you'll have the circle that'll spin. It'll load the install. It'll do a reboot, and that's it. Real quick, some other usability stuff. We get asked about this a lot. How about wallpaper? So if you want to change your wallpaper, and you can see here on the main screen, I have indeed changed mine to like this perforated, leather look, which is very similar to our seats. I kind of dig it. If you want to do this, it's just like, If you want to do this, it's just any other Android device. You go into your file manager application, which for us is ES File Explorer. You go ahead and find your image files. I think I have mine on download. Here's my image files. You go ahead and open one. You can choose, I've been choosing gallery. I guess it doesn't really matter. Choose gallery. It'll bring up the picture. Here's an additional leather picture. Hit the little options bar here. Set picture as. And you would just set it as wallpaper. That's it. So there's nothing additional you need to do for the main wallpaper. The Car Web Guru background is different. For that, you would go into the Car Web Guru settings, long press lower left, hit either, it'll say CWG if you've never changed this, or for me it's just an Infiniti logo because I customized it. Once you get there, hit background, and it's just going to find all the image files that you can select. And then you go ahead and select one, that's it. Boot up screen. So we get a lot of questions about boot up screen. How do I change that? That's in settings. So we'll go back here to settings, all the way down, boot logo. You can see it does tell you what the resolution should be. It's 800 by 1280 is the recommended resolution for this box. You go ahead and please select an image, it says. Same deal. It's going to bring up a list, or excuse me, it's going to bring up a file browser. Interestingly, this is not EX File Explorer, not quite sure why. And then you would just browse to wherever you've placed your images. Mine happen to be in downloads. Select one and it'll save it. That's it. All right. That is it for the update video. If you guys have any questions or issues with this, obviously let us know. We'll try to help you out as best we can. Thanks.